Let's talk about travel math. It's kind of like girl math, but travel. Specifically, when does it make sense to pay to upgrade for a business class flight? I'm Charlotte, and I'm a professional traveler, and I recently flew from Manila, Philippines to Paris, France to Washington, D.C. I'm gonna talk a lot of numbers and a lot of points, but I'm gonna hold your hand through it. This was a reward ticket in economy originally. This is how much I paid in points and taxes. It's important to note that not all aircrafts are the same. My first flight was on the A350, and my second flight was on the 777. In the aviation world, the A350 is known for being a little bit nicer, and especially within Air France's fleet, the A350s are newer, and my plane was brand new. Typically, I'm still at a stage of my life where I'm fine flying economy for long periods of time as long as I have a window, but halfway through my journey, I started getting a little sick, specifically experiencing sinus pressure. Typically, you get emails before the start of your journey asking if you want to pay to upgrade to business class if there's any seats available. For such a long journey, it did not make sense for me, especially for what they were charging due to the availability. Basic supply and demand. I ended up having a long layover in Charles de Gaulle, and I checked mid-journey, there were 23 open seats in business class for my next flight. That is a large amount of availability for a flight that's departing in a few hours. So I could pay to upgrade for $623. Prefacing, yes, that is a lot of money. But here's where the travel math comes in. $623 spread across an 8-hour flight, plus I would have access to the Air France business class lounge for 3 hours. Because of how my sinuses were feeling, I was desperate for a hot shower, and the Air France lounge has a shower. So travel math, if you add the flight time plus the lounge access, we take $623 and divide it by 11 hours. Yeah, that's not that much when you break it down like that. And what ended up being my saving grace was that in the lie flat seat, I could end up sitting at like a 45-degree angle, and it was the only position I could get in that would relieve the pressure. So at just over $50 extra an hour for 11 hours of comfort, to me, it was worth it. It's important to note that I also could have paid points, but that's not good travel math. Not saying ever, but this deal specifically, because it's a good rule of thumb depending on what points, but most points are worth 1.2 cents per point, just kind of on average as a baseline. So paying that amount of points in comparison to what the cash value wasn't worth it. I also felt that this was personally justifiable because it was a points redemption already, so I had only paid a little in taxes to start. And this is something that happens frequently. So if you are traveling internationally on a wide-body aircraft that has true business class, you should always be checking for last minute if flying business class is of interest to you and of your wallet. Because if there's a lot of availability, the airline would still rather have someone pay for that before they're upgrading people.